engagement. And I believe that we'll use this remaining 4 weeks to do a lot of practical sessions, revising what we've learned from day one, so that those who did not start with us can also catch up with us. Because I'm aware that some of you joined us while we had gone midway in. I'm taking it off from start, and I'll be sharing with you very sensitive documents where our work projects I have designed, and I'll be doing comparisons with those that I've said through that have gained donor approval, and those that have not gained donor approval, and why I had to. Because you have a right to write to a donor when you submit a proposal and it doesn't go through, seeking information as to why the proposal was rejected. Some calls for proposals will tell you they will not entertain it, but some donors will. It's all for helping you to improve. And I can confidently tell you that that's how I improved also in my writing, in my basics when I started proposal writing. Some of the donors rejected proposals I thought were very okay. And when I asked for a feedback on the review, I realized that I did not so well in some areas. So I'll be sharing documents with you. Please do not make reference to these documents because they are classified documents. But I know Give Africa, so I'm counting on you to use them as learning materials. That's why I'm not going to share them in file with you, but I'm going to use them to let you know, expose you to some of the perspectives to proposal writing and grant seeking. So we are going to start again from start, and we're going to start with how do you conceive a project? Recall that when we started, I told you that there are two types of entities that attempt to solve global problems. Some people solve global problems and earn profit from it, while others do not. Those who earn from it are called for-profit entities. These are the normal businesses, the corporate companies that you know, the ones that sell items and products to you at a profit, or at least at a rate. Those ones are for profit. Much as they are for profits, they are also attempting to solve problems that society needs. We all need soap, so we have to go to the shop and buy soap. But the kind of work we do is what is called non-profit work. Non-profit. Why do we call it non-profit? We call it non-profit because the entities that we work for do not engage in what we do to earn money, but to solve social problems. And we try to look at what a social problem is. We say that there are problems that are personal. There are some problems that do not affect other people apart from the person to which it affects. For example, a man or a woman that has not eaten food is his problem. If every other person has eaten, it's a personal problem. A man or woman who does not shave their pubics and get infection is a personal problem. Now, it becomes a problem if that situation begins to affect other people. In that instance, what we that are working for non-profit are looking at is not what is happening to that individual, but the effect on others. For example, in the two examples I've given, if a matter of personal hygiene stops a woman or a man from providing food for the kids, maybe buying drugs to take care of themselves, then there is no more sufficient money to feed the kids. It has gone beyond a personal problem. It is beginning to what? Affect others. If flooding comes and hits one building down, nobody will complain. We cannot. The person who is affected can complain, write letters, seek support from individuals, and maybe fix back their house. But the kind of work we do will only come to play when a large number of houses have been washed away by the flooding, or as a result of washing that singular building, more people are affected. I give you an instance. It becomes a social problem if that one building is an orphanage that has been washed away because there are orphans. It becomes a problem if that building is the only school that community has and flooding has washed it away. Same flood, same single building, different scenarios. And we say that for us, when we are thinking about project design, we're thinking about project ideas, solutions to social problems, not personal problems. And we said that by standard, a problem becomes a social problem if it affects up to 50 people. And if it affects up to 1,000 people, it becomes some level of epidemic. And if it affects up to 500 people, 500,000 people to 1 million, it becomes a pandemic. So these, whether pandemic, epidemic, or general social problem, that is where we fit in. And the last time we met, the first lecture, we tried to look at common social problems. Can you remind me what they are? I've mentioned a few: flooding, armed conflicts. What other ones? Quickly, I would like us to be very smart in our contribution so we make maximum use of our time. What other social problems can you see? Beatrice, you will control the people who are making contributions. I'll just take 3 contributions because this is revision.
The problem, the problem like HIV and AIDS, a problem
HIV and
like
AIDS, yes.
cholera outbreak.
Oh, you are giving us more than one, Beatrice. Thank you. Yes, cholera outbreak, HIV and AIDS. You know, it has multi-dimensional effects. We don't need to go deep, wasting much time. So these are different social problems. It could be extreme poverty. It could be extreme hunger. Hunger in the sense that not a single individual lacking food, but a whole set of people not having access to food, maybe because rains did not fall, in which case we're thinking about irrigation or trying to see how we can get water for all season farming and all that. So this is where we fit in. And we fit in here because if we don't address the social problems, then we will reduce the quality of life and the rights and dignity. There are 3 things that push us to do this development and humanitarian work we're doing. We are interested in seeing that the quality of life of people is optimal. That is, you survive, you live good quality of life. The second one is you enjoy your human rights. The third one is you enjoy dignity. 3 things. These are fundamental. And that's why when we see a social problem, we don't say, okay, flood come, if you like, kill the people you kill, the remaining ones, we can be able to move on with our lives. No, it's because we care that people should live, survive, live good quality of life, live and enjoy their rights, and also live in dignity. So we said that before you carry your pen or your laptop to begin to design a proposal, one of the things you must not do, one of the things you must not do is to open a call for proposal template and begin to complete. If you do that, that proposal, no matter how you try to convince, it will fail. Many people are tempted once they go on any site or they hear that, okay, like right now, European Union has opened a call for proposal for some states, social protection. You can search for it if you want to write a proposal on that. Now, one of the things, I was a part of a consortium that said, let's design this proposal. I said, okay, let's go ahead. How do we start? They said, okay, let's study the call. We said, okay, we'll study the call. So what next after studying the call? They said, no, we should go to section 2.1. I said, no, 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 no. If we do that, we're going to have a bad project. It's not going to win donor funding, and it's going to be one of the most horrible projects we will ever design. We cannot do that. Why are we not doing it? Because that will make us to begin to skew our thinking to suit the donor requirements instead of skewing our proposal to fit the needs of the community. And when we started talking, it became very clear that at all, what do you do? The first thing is you go into understanding, analyzing, and responding to the situation from the problem analysis stage. So you focus on the problem analysis. The problem analysis is the first stage to designing a winning proposal. And what I always tell people is that, please, you can design a good proposal and keep and wait for the right donor to ask for it. It will always fly if you really follow the steps we have agreed on in this concept, in this engagement and lectures. So today we'll be looking at problem analysis. How do you analyze a problem? The last time we said that analysis means diagnosis, it means trying to understand, it means dissecting, it means looking critically at. These are some of the words that you people gave me, and I agreed with them, that is analysis. It means if you are doing analysis, you must be able to collect data, process it before you can say, okay, this is what is happening in this community. Many of us fall guilty of walking into a community and making assumptions. We are all human beings. We have stereotypes. We have unconscious biases. There's no assumption we make about the problem of a people that will be 100% correct if you do not ask them what is their problem. You look at community, women are not are traveling long distances to fetch water. You say, oh, these people need borehole. No. A project designer does not think like that. They are not the ones that told you they need borehole. What if what they need is not borehole? What if what they need is a hand dug well? What if what they need is for you to give them water water purifiers? They are okay with traveling those distances, but what they want is clean water. So you start with your problem analysis. Problem analysis is a critical process. It's not something you do once off. It's not something you sit and you just say, okay, if I do this, it's going to work. It's not about you, the project designer. It is about the people who are affected. You listen while they tell you what their problem is. And that's why we say that if you must do problem analysis, you must put in every sensitivity. For example, you cannot ask men, an all-men team, to go and talk to women about menstrual hygiene and come back and design a proposal. It will fail because they will not talk to the women. And if they talk with the women will only tell them stories they want to hear, not from a point of empathy or what exactly is the problem, but they can disclose to women. So it's an art. It's also an act. Act in the sense of ACT, but it's also an art in the sense of ART, because you have to bring in creativity to be able to get to what the problem of the people are. And once you get that, colleagues, your project is as good as it is over. You get a winning proposal. So how do you analyze? You analyze using tools. There is no mechanic that fixes a car with one tool. And that's why they move with a toolbox. There's no way you give anybody a cutlass to go and cultivate heaps and plant yam and it will work. It doesn't. Every tool has its purpose and has its use and has what it yields as a product. So problem analysis is about undergoing some level of analysis, a scientific process, something that you use tools. Excuse me for 3 minutes. I'm hearing strange sounds. There are criminals around my area. Let me check. I'll be back shortly. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So, like I said, analyzing a problem will require you to use tools, because it's only do I say journalists, even journalists, professional journalists use tools that tell the story. They start from anywhere and end anywhere. No. As a project design person, when somebody asks you, what problem is this project you are proposing aiming to address, you should be able to speak constructively about it. So problem analysis there are certain things we look at in an analysis, and you must pay attention to them. The first thing that must come out of analysis is what is a problem. The second thing that will come out of the analysis is where is it happening? Another answer is who is affected and how are they affected? Another question you want to ask is why is this problem continuing? Another thing you want to find yourself is what efforts have the people made to solve the problem and why has the problem not ended? Then finally, what is needed to address the problem? So your analysis must point to a solution. So we are saying, what is the problem? Where is it taking place? Who is affected and how are they affected? What efforts have been made, either by the people who are affected or other people, other NGOs, other stakeholders to address the problem? Why has the problem continued even despite those efforts? One mistake we make is we write proposals as if we're the first and only organization to go in there. And I'll tell you one secret. The donor community is a very sensitive community. If, for example, you write a proposal about a place in Bauchi and you claim to understand the problem so perfect that no NGO has gone in to assist them, meanwhile, you say that has supported the project there, then they are looking at your proposal and saying, who is this one? Be careful. And that's why talking to the people is important, because you cannot sit and assume that nobody has helped them. Ask them. And then you ask them again, why is it the problem still continuing despite those efforts? The gaps is what you address. You're not going in there to replicate what has failed. You're going in there to address what the gaps are so that you are able to achieve results. Now, like I said, problem analysis has its tools. You look out for the context. The context is no problem happens in the air. Before you see poverty taking place, so many factors have accounted for that poverty. If criminals are rising up everywhere, it means a lot of factors have taken place within where those people live, either in the geography of the place, that is whether there are forests for hideouts of now we call them hunters or something, or maybe they call them kidnappers or bandits. They have a forest that is good for them to hide. Or it is in the demography. It's either in the geography, it's in the demography. The population is so skewed that the highest population are youth, and youth unemployment is high. They don't have anything to do. Meanwhile, this blah, blah, blah. There must be a context that shapes the problem. So you need to understand the concept, the context. And we learned one tool that is used to analyze context. And we said that was PERS test. I'm going to share at the end of my presentation what context a problem analysis is, and you will begin to pick some of these components I'm taking you through again. It's a reminder. So context analysis uses the tool PESTEL. It is part of problem analysis. When you want to understand the problem, you want to understand why there's HIV and AIDS in the land, you will definitely know why people are contracting it. Oh, they are doing high risk job. Oh, okay, economic context. And the people are not having access to prevention and prevention kits. Oh, that's a problem with this. The people are not aware, so they stigmatize against the use of protective whatever. Okay, there's a cultural context. There must be a context that shapes every problem. So understand it. If you can't find a context, ask the people who are affected, they will tell you. So what is PERS test? We said that PERS test is a tool that analyzes the problem from the dimension of the context.
In a wrong way.
Yes, rather. Okay, thank you. So we have political context. And we say that political context has to do with, Beatrice, you raise your hand. Go ahead, please.
I don't know whether you are scrolling, but your slides are not changing.
No, I am not scrolling. I have an example of a project here to show you the context, but I want you to go through. See the context analysis here. So if you understand it, then you will know better what I'm talking about. Can you see what is on my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So when you understand these tools, and I come here, I'll be asking you, where can you see pest test? So this is just like a practical. I've lost the slides I gave you, like I said, so I'm not going to, this is a revision, so just follow me and maybe take few notes. We'll go into practical. What I want you to know is the practical one. I will show you. This is from a project document that has been again done on approval. We're implementing it, so I'll show you. So don't mind the slides for now. I'll take you through the slides because I'm showing you a practical problem analysis, but you need to understand what the tools are. So I told you that we have political context. When you're analyzing problem, ask the people, has there been any political dimension to this issue? They will tell you, the last election we did not vote the honorable that is in charge of water, so he said he's not going to give us borehole. Write it in the proposal document. Richard, yes?
So your slides are not changing.
I am not presenting slides, Richard. Like I said, I have slides for you, but they are practical slides. So I'm giving you a revision of what we did the first lecture. And then I'll take you through a practical document on what a problem analysis is.
All
Is
right,
that okay?
thank you, sir.
So I'm not presenting. I'm giving you a revision. So when I finish the revision, we'll go through one practical document of what a problem analysis looks like. I think that will now stick. I'm just reminding us what we took during the first lecture. So when you see a problem analysis, one of the things you ask is there a political dimension to this? They will say, okay, there's a political dimension. And why are you not having water? And the honorable that is in charge of water say we did not vote the party that last election. So they are not giving us water. But look at the other communities that voted them. They have water. Write it. You will see it practically in the document that I've put here to present to you. So what is the economic dimension? Are there poverty levels that are affecting the problem? This is why you now say, okay, people are poor, they have been displaced, they cannot afford certain basic things. Even the one that was supported through aid, through Donald Trump's executive order, they are not able to get aid again. So they have to buy everything, including the things they were getting for free. So things are very tough. And that is why young girls are open to being trafficked to other countries for exploitation. That is a clear example of economic context. So you also have sociocultural context. Sociocultural context, sometimes the culture of the people adds to their problem. They say, no, here we don't support girl child education. The boys must go to school first. Sociocultural context. So you look at the context, but you now also look at what is the cause and effect of a project, of the problem. So all this now gives you what we call a problem analysis. So this is a project we have designed and submitted to the French embassy. Now, this is the title of the project, Connecting Internally Displaced Persons with Disability to Education through Improved Sign Language Literacy Among Teachers. I will give you also another example. This is just the title. It's just to give you an idea of the project. I will show you the problem analysis. Why did we conceive this project? What is the social problem here? The social problem is that there are persons with disability who are internally displaced. By internally displaced, they are already vulnerable. And these people are not accessing education because they cannot speak the normal language we speak. That is what we identified. They also cannot hear like we hear. The blind can hear. The blind can hear. The deaf can talk. But these ones with hearing and speech impairment, they cannot hear, neither can they talk. The ones with limb disability, at least they can attend class. Now, we saw that there is an underserved population. And this is a social problem because they are also caregivers, future caregivers to people, other population who may not even be displaced. So if we don't provide education to them, what happens to them? One is their rights. So they are being denied their rights to education. That is our assumption before we went into writing this grant, writing this application. This one is yet to get approval, but I'm almost 90%. If they are very fair, we'll get it. Now, look at the angle we are coming. Teachers that teach, are they able to communicate in sign language? The answer is no. From where we are writing the project, no, maybe in another location they may. So this is what made us to go into the proposal. This is where we plan to implement the project. And see what I've said here. The project will be implemented in, let me see if I can minimize my screen. I'm not able to see. In Daudu community of Guma, Anaka community of West in Benue State. Now, why are we choosing this community? Please, when you mention this, don't wait. Why are you choosing the community? You must justify it. You see? And we're going ahead to say why we're targeting them. We say according to IOM data, we're quoting credible sources of data. This is problem analysis now. As of July 2024, larger population of these groups are in these locations. And that's why we find it difficult. We find it suitable to target this location. You see? So that's how to start. Now, we are going into the problem now, and we're saying that the prolonged armed conflicts between pastoralists and farmers in Benue State have led to the displacement of over 1.5 million rural population who are now seeking refuge in IDP camps and safer host communities, majority in Kumangwe West. Now, this is the beginning of our analysis. And if it is in the MS Word document, you'll be seeing those data, those sources. I did not just write this figure out of nothing. The main document has reference. Maybe I should show you before we continue. Look at this document, Gaif call. I hope it's able to project very big. If you look at my project, this is from the template. Let me see if I can show you some of the footnotes. You can see this data at the base here. This is to tell you that you don't just mention a figure without what? Citing. So every figure you see me quote now, I have given reference to it. So you should take a cue. This is from the project document. I copied them into presentation mode so that you can easily see them. Now back to our document. We proceeded to say that the IDPs, now we're trying to establish the problem. See the context now. You begin to see the pest. The economic context is now coming out now. The IDPs are mostly agrarian farmers who, as a result of displacement, have lost means of livelihood and are unable to meet daily survival thresholds. Economic context. Pester 2. Majority are living a poor and dejected quality of life and adopting negative coping. Now, I'm now mentioning what the people are doing to address their situation. As a result of collapsed income, IDPs are unable to afford educational needs of their children. Thus, they tend to relegate girls and boys with disability to the background in prioritization of needs. Why am I targeting girls with disability and in displaced girls with disability? So we're saying that people are unable to afford to raise income. So you can see now the economic context is now shaping the problem. The displacement data on Benue State from IOM, and Richard, I've minimized my screen. So if anybody raises a hand, any of the admin can call my attention because I'm reading from a full blank screen. The displacement data on Benue State from IOM, as referenced above, shows that IDPs with disability constitute 16% normative data. I mentioned it that day. Cited. This means an estimated 2,101 children out of 13,135 are living with disability. I am now trying to give back my target group with what? Sources of data. Access to education by girls and boys with disability has remained low. or near to zero as a result of sociocultural and gender-based barriers. I'm now establishing the cause and the effect. Cause and effect. Problem 3 is beginning to emerge from here, and you will see it in diagram. Across the states, traditional belief systems interpret disability conditions as punishment for presumed offenses related to tradition, culture, and spirituality. Now, this is the context now, the sociocultural context. Once you are disabled, you are unable to speak or hear or both, they say it's punishment for this. So definitely they will not target you. This is sociocultural context shaping the problem now. Generally, girls and boys with hearing and speech impairments suffer stigma, the effects of the problem on them, and discrimination on the status of their condition. And this is worsened in displacement situation. Now you see, I'm not just targeting deaf and dumb everywhere. We are saying this is worsened in displacement situation where their choices and needs are relegated in the face of competing needs of girls and boys without disability. So the donor is now clear as to why you are targeting this group. You say that if it is outside, some of them might even enjoy better support. But in displacement situation where people have 10 naira to take care of people, and there are competing needs of boys and girls who do not have disability, they tend to focus on those. I'm establishing this as well. Now I'm linking economic and sociocultural context to the problem and also seeing how these people try to cope as a result of this. Let's move on. I told you that there is what is called what? Triangulation. And there are normative standards that when you are writing, you make reference to some global standards that have been adopted, that when anything falls below them, then you establish that there's a problem. For example, though Nigeria has acceded to international conventions such as Convention on the Rights of the Child, that is number one commitment Nigeria has made. Though. The second commitment is Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability. The third commitment is that Nigeria has signed the OAU Convention on the Rights and Status of IDPs. Even after all these commitments, access to education by girls and boys with disability has remained abysmally poor, especially in displacement situations. I have now laid what? I have laid my normative standard. Remember the triangulation we studied. I'm still laying them forward. And why am I doing this? It makes my proposal globally what? Relevant. We're not looking at it from this is a problem in the one small Naka community or one small Daudu community again. No, we are saying Nigeria has a commitment at the international level and this thing is being affected. 25 years after the launch of the Universal Basic Education and 5 years to the expiration of SDGs, most of the goals, including Sustainable Goal 4, is off track. What am I trying to tell them? If you don't solve this problem, we are all into problem. As confirmed by the data on the illiteracy levels contained in the Multidimensional Poverty Index report of the United Nations. I'm placing my proposal now in global war context. So we are just 5 years to end of SDGs. You say by the end of 2030, by all girls and boys, irrespective of blah, 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 should be able to read and write. Now, here is a group that has not been targeted. There's a problem. Normative standards, that's what they do. In 2024, Nigeria launched a national policy on inclusive education, which resulted in the scrapping of special schools, SIBA, which were attended exclusively by persons with disability. So there are no more special schools. You are saying persons with disability should attend normal school. The one they were managing, the special school, you scrap them through what is called National Policy on Inclusive Education. The policy mandated all schools to integrate special teaching and learning mechanisms. So all the normal schools we have been attending, the regular ones for persons with disability, are supposed to teach both persons with children with disability and those without disability. So the policy mandated all schools to integrate special teaching and learning mechanisms and to create conditions for boys and girls with and without disability to acquire education on equal basis. The implementation of this policy is suffering setbacks as teachers do not have sign language literacy and numeracy skills, and schools are yet to acquire assistive teaching and learning aids to allow for inclusive education as outlined in the policy. This is the wahala. You are saying persons, children with disability who cannot speak and here should attend regular school. The teachers don't know how to speak with these children. And even the few that know, there is no assistive device for them to teach them. How will it work? Meanwhile, you have a policy. You have made a commitment. You must live up to it. So we have to do something. This is what the donor will be thinking. In Benue State, agencies of government and non-governmental organizations have implemented small-scale in-camp education assistance projects. See, I told you that you have to state what other people have done and why the problem has continued. So whatever I mentioned the prior as introduction, see it mirror coming out clearly. And this is just one example. There are many more templates you might review. In Benue State, non-governmental organizations have implemented small-scale in-camp education assistance projects. However, none of the interventions between 2016 and 2025 have integrated or prioritized educational needs of children with hearing and speech impairment. So there's a gap, and that is what my proposal is addressing. I'm not saying you did not go in and support IDPs to access education. You did, but did you target these ones? No. So that is where the gap is. However, safety audit of the protection environment, protection assessment, and case management processes conducted by FJDP in collaboration with UNHCR 2024 exposed the need to promote the access and educational inclusion of girls and boys with disability, especially in displacement situations. So it's not just we as Give Africa or as this organization talking. Somebody else has established that need. This project is aligned to addressing the gaps in the context reviewed above. Biometric registration conducted by IOM in partnership with FJDP and other agencies, protection assessment, okay, indicate that although persons with disability constitute about 16% and up to 2,000 children of school age are estimated to be living with disabilities, these populations have been conspicuously under-targeted with educational assistance provided by government agencies and NGOs. I'm further validating, and I'm giving them data, and I'm giving them reference points to go and check if what I'm saying is a lie. And I'm trying to establish why they need to support this project. So having laid all this, I now say that, okay, I've caught some of it, but this is the problem we have to analyze above. We are saying that if you look at the blue line below, on the other side of the screen, teachers have not received sign language literacy and communication training. They have not trained our teachers. And because of that, teachers have no sign language literacy. You can see the black one above. And what is that resulting to? Schools lack capacity to deliver disability inclusive education. So what is that resulting to? In the internally displaced girls and boys with hearing and speech impairment are suffering educational exclusion. What will that result to? High literacy among internally displaced girls and boys with hearing and speech impairment. If you have to continue, we say, what will that result to? It will result to underdevelopment. It will result to blah, 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 depending on what the affected people tell you. So this is our problem 3 from what we have analyzed above. So from our discussion in the lecture, I told you that a problem tree has a cause and effect relationship. And if you put it in diagram, it is demonstrated by what? By the flow chart of arrows. So you will see that from below, it leads to something up, it leads like that. Remember above, we said that even the schools do not have assistive devices. So we say schools lack stockpiles of special education teaching and learning aids, all those sign language, flashcards, and all those things. They don't have it. We mentioned it in our analysis. That is what the people told you. So if schools do not have all these small kits, it means they lack special education teaching and learning aids. And then it results all the way back again. And then we're saying on this other side, schools and communities have a limited understanding of the educational rights of girls and boys with disability. Remember the cultural whatever we mentioned of. So it is constituting a cultural barrier. We did not create this diagram from nowhere. It is what the people said above that we're now putting it in a simplified form so that we can be able to come up with a project statement. From here now, we can begin to design our project and come out with logical framework. This side, we're saying caregivers or IDPs with internet displaced girls and boys with hearing and speech impairment are not targeted. We say they are poor. And why are they poor? They are not targeted with livelihood intervention. So they cannot meet daily or schooling needs of all these people. So as a result, there's poor enrollment. And then it leads all the way back again. So you will see that this problem tree now gives you a flowchart understanding of what we have explained above in narrative. Now, do not resist the temptation, or except where I do not specify, of just drawing a diagram and thinking people will understand. You have to provide the narrative above when you are asked to do so in the proposal. And if you have space, especially if there are no word limitations, you can now do a small, even if there are word limitations and you can, it makes things beautiful, easier for you. Remember the last lecture we had, I told you about aesthetics. I told you that packaging your proposal is key. Don't come and give us colors that will blind those people that are reviewing the document. I'm telling you, some of them are using glasses. So mind the kind of attractive colors that you can add to this. It helps ease the pressure, the mental, and this. It doesn't add value to your score, so, but we're all humans. So sometimes it eases the mind of the person who is analyzing. And you don't know whether the person likes pink. If you put all blue and the person hates blue, you can't tell. Nobody will judge you based on what the content is, but I'm telling you, there are psychological cues that you must try to escape those traps. You do all this. So this now comes out as what? A problem analysis tree from what we have done. From here, you can see that the blue line below is your activity. If you have to design this and go down to activity level, these are the areas you will begin to talk about. Okay, teachers have not received sign language and skills training. Okay, activity 1, train teachers in sign language literacy and communication. Schools lack stockpiles of special education teaching and learning aids. Activity 2. Yes, Evelyn, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sorry for the obstruction, but I just had to ask this question. From the previous slide, I noticed the play of words. Let me just use that word play. I noticed policy. I noticed previous work organizations have done, and all of that. So it means that in every intervention you're carrying out in a community, it means that you have to be aligned to the plan or plan that the state has and all. But I know I've heard a word called state's development plan. So I would actually love that you clear that and how exactly you align to all of those plans, and then also policies. And so because I saw all of that in your in the problem analysis, and also I just want you to clarify that. So because you have a lot of organizations that carry out interventions and they don't really align. Yes, of course they align with they say is this I'm sorry, they say okay, they are carrying out intervention, but do they really work with the state in doing some of this? So I just want you to clarify the goals, and then the plans, and then the policies, and then yes, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Let me see if I can get back to that place. Now, first of all, it depends on what you meet on ground. And that's why I say that doing analysis, you're not bringing anything from out. When the people say our persons with disability who cannot hear and speak are not going to school, you ask them. You walk to the local authority, you ask them, do you have a policy on that supports education of these people? They will say, we have a national policy. Are you implementing it? No, we are not implementing it. Add it in the narrative of your problem analysis. If you say that how organizations came here, what did they do? This NGO came here, what they did is they just provided the school bags and uniforms to these kids and left. Write it. Is that in line with your plan? No. Then you that is designing the proposal, although some NGOs, national organizations, try to support the organization, they focus more on providing uniforms and books, which according to local authorities is not one of the priorities of the local education policy. And that is why your own design now should suit policy. Why are you doing that? Please, colleagues, don't design a project that looks like a replacement for government or government intervention. All our work is supposed to support what? Government framework. The government is the one that is leading. So don't design a project that looks like you are the one that is going to lead this process. Avoid the word, Give Africa will lead this process. Avoid that word lead, because the leadership is of government. So government, there are policies, documents, and ask yourself whether those policies are working, and if they are working, which aspect is not working that is allowing that problem you have identified to continue. Then focus on that aspect. For example, you might say that in this local community, the Benue State government has passed the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act into law. However, persons with hearing and speech impairment are still suffering what? Violence and exclusion on the basis that the disability center, which is supposed to be provided under the act, is yet to be established. There's a gap. So what do? Part of your project design will now integrate activities advocacy towards ensuring that that disability center is what? Activated. So always look at what the policy environment is and drive it in. But you must make reference. You must make reference to the frameworks that are surrounding the intervention you are making. Then you must also make reference to some organizations, or even if it's individuals, that have attempted to support the situation and what exactly they did. If they did it and it was not in alliance with the national priorities or the local policy, state it that although they attempted this, it did not work, and part of the reason is because the government did not support it, because it is against what? The local policy. Let me give you a practical example. There are some NGOs in the Northeast that were providing vitamin A and whatever eye drop to Boko Haram members. Now, why this is acceptable at the international level, that everybody deserves vision until you are also arrested and tried and found guilty, we should not discriminate. The local priorities said, no, you cannot be doing this. So while they were also doing their work, it was not in alliance with what? Local policy and priorities. So the government did not support the process. And at a point, I think they even banned them. You write it in the proposal. And that is why you will not focus on giving vitamin A to what? Boko Haram. Instead, you will focus on teaching people how to protect themselves from getting blind. I don't know whether I've attempted to answer you.
Yes, you have, sir. Thank you.
So that's just it. So all I'm saying is that don't go into problem analysis with a pre-skilled mind. Try to hear from the people what the problem is. Try to investigate the frameworks, the normative standards that problem has violated, and then just write it exactly the way they tell you. You can only add your professional touch into making sure that you connect it with other global and other contexts, just like I have done. The people say our people are not going to school, but me, being a project design, and I have to ask, what are Nigeria's commitments to these people? Oh, they signed this treaty. Oh, they signed this convention. Oh, but they are not doing it. So there's a problem, and that is why I'm focusing on it. So like I said, by the time you get to this, you can begin to do your theory of change, and you can now say, okay, at the base, these are, if teachers have, now the theory of change comes from here. You don't manufacture it from somewhere. It's just taking the reverse up. If teachers, here we say teachers have not received sign language training and communication training. If teachers receive sign language literacy and communication training, then what will happen? The next arrow up. We're saying teachers have no sign language literacy and communication capacity. Then the teachers will have sign language literacy and communication capacity. And then schools will have capacity to deliver disability inclusive education. And then internally displaced girls and boys with hearing and speech impairment will enjoy inclusion, because the problem was exclusion. And if they enjoy inclusion, then there will be the illiteracy level will reduce, or you can say the literacy level will rise among these people. So your theory of change is just a bottom-top interpretation of your problem tree. Your problem tree starts from, it shows you, it's like a mirror. A mirror has two faces. The one you see your face and the dark one. So the other one you see your face is the problem. It stares you in the face. The one you are yet to see is your what? Theory of change or objective 3. That is just to turn up. So when you are writing your theory of change, don't go and start struggling. Once your problem 3 comes out, just pick it. It will just flow. If schools have stockpiles of special education teaching and learning aids, then schools will have special education and learning, adequate special education and learning capacity. Then schools will have improved capacity to deliver disability. Again, it will go all the way up again, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is what we try to do in our early phase of the lecture. So I'll pause here and ask, is there anything that you want clarification on, so that we can throw lights on? Anyone? Beatrice?
I have another. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have another question. Looking at the problem tree here, is there any need for you to have the theory of change when you're writing the proposal, since your problem tree is here? And what's this difference between problem tree and then theory of change? Is it different for them? Yes.
All right, they are different. In fact, I'll show you another example. Your theory of change can also come in diagram like this. Let me show you what I mean. This is your problem tree. We understand this one, right?
Yes, sir.
If you understand this one, I don't know who is speaking, but can you attempt to change this? Teachers have not received sign language literacy and communication training into a result. Remove the not. Hello, who was speaking with me? Yes, go ahead. I think it was Beatrice or something.
Okay, it's Evelyn.
Evelyn, change this.
Yes,
teachers have not received sign language training and communication training. Remove that not and read it.
Okay, teachers have sign language literacy and communication capacity. That's
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are in the dark one.
Okay,
I'm talking about the blue one.
Okay, I've seen it. Teachers have received sign language literacy and communication training.
Okay, if teachers have received sign language, or if teachers receive sign language and literacy and communication training, come to the dark one above and remove the no.
Okay, teachers have sign language literacy and communication capacity.
Okay, so we're saying if teachers have received sign language literacy and communication training, teachers will have sign language literacy and communication capacity. Okay. Let's go up again. Remove the lack above. And change the lack to have.
Okay. Schools have the capacity to deliver disability inclusive education.
Okay, so what you are trying to read to me now is your theory of what? Change. So if teachers have if teachers receive sign language literacy and communication training, then teachers will have sign language and literacy and communication capacity. And then schools, now you have moved from teachers to what? Schools will now have capacity to deliver disability inclusive education. And then what will it lead to? Internally displaced girls with hearing and speech impairment will enjoy educational inclusion, because they were suffering educational exclusion.
Oh, wow.
And then this will lead to what? Reduced illiteracy level, or if you like, increased literacy level among. So you can see that this is a theory that you can see the change taking place. So your theory of change is just the flip side interpretation of your problem tree. This is an example. This is the theory of change we have above. I didn't want to get here, but since you mentioned it, the theory of change of this project is that if teachers providing educational assistance to IDP population have robust sign language and communication skills, now at this level, I'm taking all the legs at once, but you can take it one by one. You see this one, the one we read is just one leg of the theory. The second one is what? If schools lack if teachers have adequate sign language literacy and communication training, and schools have stockpiles of special education teaching and learning this, and schools and communities have improved understanding of the educational rights of girls, you can take it across board. Then it will result to you will take the other ones across board. Then you will take the other ones across board. You can still do it like that when you become professional. But for beginners, you can take one leg and go up, and take another leg and go up again. I don't know whether I made sense to you.
Yes, sir, you did very well.
So that's why
Okay.
you see here now, me, I put all the base 1 together, base 2 together, base 3 together, final result together, because it will avoid you repeating some of the ones above. Then teachers, so the theory of change of this period, if teachers providing education assistance to IDP population have robust sign language and communication skills, that will begin through training. And if the schools have adequate education, teaching, and learning aids, then there will be improved capacity in the displacement situation to conduct disability inclusive education. So what did I do? I joined these two because the two of them are on one leg. The first, teachers have not received sign language and the schools lack stockpile. They are all on one leg. The other ones are on one leg. So I joined these two, I analyzed them up. Then I joined the other two, analyze up. But you can do it in any way. But just know that theory of changes, you have to see how this causal effect can also be interpreted in terms of results. So this is the theory of change for the project. So you can read it and you can begin to make meaning out of that. You can still put this one in diagram. You can still put it in the same diagram we have put in this
I was going to ask
You are going to ask for that. Okay,
about the diagram. But
yeah,
I
you
just,
can still put it. It's just to change these words. It makes it easier. But like I said, if you must put it in diagram, first put it in narrative before you still put it in diagram. The same way we did here.
Okay.
The same way we did in narrative here before we came to diagram. You can still put your theory of change in narrative and then put it in diagram. I was going to show you where I did that. Maybe I think the Misero proposal, the one we're implementing. Let me check if it is here. This is one project we're implementing. It's funded by the German government. And you can see inadequate targeting of population. Let me see if I can make it bigger. My screen is a small one. Inadequate targeting of a affected population. We're talking about pastoralists, and from the background of the project is up, the narrative is up. I don't want to go again repeating. Inadequate targeting of affected population and host community with trauma healing and psychosocial support is leading to what? Limited access to psychotrauma healing and psychosocial support services. And what is that leading them to? It is leading to unhealed trauma. And because it is leading to unhealed trauma, it is resulting to poor resilience in what? Communities. So it has 3 points. We're also saying that there is limited capacity of cross-border security agency, interagency coordination system to conduct early warning and early response to incidents of conflict. And we're saying, this is one thing with word. We're saying this is resulting to poor coordination of cross-border security between Benue and Nasarawa State. And it is resulting to what? Pervasive boundary what? Security threats. And that is also affecting community resilience. Then on the other third leg, the people told us they have poor economic inclusion and people in power and the rest, they're not targeting them and they lost cattle and crops. So collapse like that is resulting to what? Collapse livelihood. And as a result of that, they have low economic status and it's all affecting what? Resilience in communities. Let me see if I can show you the theory of change in diagram. I think it should be somewhere. Sorry, I just want to make it. I don't know whether it's here. Let me search theory of change. I'm trying to see if I can get that. Aha. See now, the theory of change is also in diagram. So we say that problem was...
We can't see that one, sir.
Sir?
The one that you're trying to show us, we cannot see it. I don't know if it's from my end.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I lost you. I didn't know. Sorry. Thank you for bringing that. Please do. So what I said is that the theory of change. Are you able to see me now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So sorry. In that case, let me go. But did you see the problem tree for this project? No.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
No.
Did you see the one I was talking about, psychosocial healing?
No.
No, we
No,
didn't see
no,
it
no.
too.
No, we
Okay,
didn't
so
see that one.
let's go and look at the problem tree in diagram. Then you come and see the theory of change in diagram. So it makes things easier for you. Ah, sorry, this one is in Word, so I'll have to. This is it. This is the problem tree that we're trying to look at. And we say that at the base here, let me make it larger. I will take you up gradually so you see. This project looks at the problem from three perspectives. There's inadequate targeting of pastoralists. People are not targeted with trauma healing. Then the second leg is that border security between Benue and Nasarawa is porous. So the security architecture is bad. And the third one is that people are not enjoying economic inclusion. They are not having access to what they can do and make money. So it is resulting to second level of problems. The people who are not having access to trauma care are having limited access to trauma healing. So they are not able to even see the services. The second level of people is that the border security is porous and bad. The third one is that there are collapsed livelihood because the people are not enjoying economic inclusion. That has resulted to another level. There is unhit trauma for the people, the other leg. There is pervasive cross-boundary security threats, and people have poverty levels are high. That's low economic status. These three problems now are contributing to a what? Poor resilience in communities affected by conflicts between what? Pastoralists and farmers. So we're trying to look at, in developing a theory of change, it means that if people are adequately targeted with trauma healing activities, then they will have improved access to trauma healing services. And then the trauma, there will be what? The trauma, psychotrauma in the community will be what? Healed. And then communities will become resilient. That is the theory of change. That's what I will write in narrative. The same leg here is just a changing of this upside down. So what I was trying to explain to you is that after writing it in narrative, you can still make it in diagram to make it easy for interpretation by some people who don't want to read lengthy write-ups. But don't do only the diagram, because some people may also don't like diagrams. They don't understand diagrams. They will say, no, we didn't send you proposal to be sending us a complex diagram. So I was trying to look at theory of change. So I was trying to look at the theory of change for this proposal so that I'll take you there. You will see how this is also done in diagram. That's what I was trying to. So let's go there, back to where we were. So you, okay, this system that is not my own is giving me a headache. I have to search for everything. So this is the theory of change for this project. You see, the first problem was people were not targeted with what? Trauma healing activities. So we're saying if trauma healing sessions, these are the activities we say they were not targeting. Then resilience building, art and sport. These are basic. Then it will increase access to psychosocial support services, which we said were lacking. So this will lead to communities absorbing the trauma. And then it will result to resilient communities. Then the second leg is also here. Now, what I have done to this material changes, I've even added activities because I've discussed with the communities. This is the second phase of the project. So we have already discussed with the community. If you did in this, your theory of change will start with at this yellow, it's still okay. So self-reliant populations and communities, mechanisms for early warning, that is the cross-boundary. So you see that you can still interpret the theory of change again in what? In a flowchart diagram. So this is what, so basically that's what I wanted to let you know, that you can do it in both ways. So, and that makes it easier for you. I don't know whether that made sense. Evelyn, was it Evelyn that was talking with me?
Yes, you did, sir. You did.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you. Any question from anybody before we try to wrap up? Sorry,
Sir,
I
can
promised.
you share the document after the class? Can you share the document so that we can just study
No.
it?
I have agreement with my donors not to share this. These projects are being implemented currently as we talk, and that's why I
But
said
then previous one you can share with us.
I can share just one of the diagrams only, but the document is it's a proposal, and we have data sharing protocol. You can even see that what the title above, and you can.
Okay, sir. All right, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to show you a bad one, but no, that if I show you a bad one, it will start corrupting you. So not the good one. And again, I promised you I was going to go live. Our broadcast theater is bad, so I just needed to just download this specimen so that I'll share with you. Any question from any other person? So the next class will advance again on trying to generate a theory of change from this. I'll continuously use this same project so that you will get used to it instead of starting something afresh.
Yes, sir. I have a little discussion.
Yes.
Now that you have given us the diagram and the write-up,
yes,
is there any limitation that if you want, you put, let's say, one of it? Because the other time you were telling us that some donors, when they will have a limitation of words as to have a proposal. So in such case, what will you do?
No, in fact, some templates will not allow you to do diagram.
Okay.
Some templates will not allow you to do diagram.
So you'll be restricted to words.
What is a given is that you must write it in words. But let me tell you another thing. Somebody who is able to manage few words to write the theory of change and also accompany it with a diagram will earn more scores than you that just wrote it in narrative. Always learn to write in limited number of words when you are doing proposal. Because if you write too bulky, even when you are not given a word limit, somebody says, the shorter the write-up, the more precise and the more difficult it is to construct. And there's a reason. That's why people don't like using Twitter, X now. They prefer Facebook, where you can blow a lot of paragraphs. Now, when you write shorter, you are more apt. And if your idea is clear, like we conceive, then you don't need so much words to do that. So to answer your question, you must always write it in words. And if at all you have space or you can add it in diagram. The diagram is the aesthetics I told you about, packaging your proposal in a way that is attractive to anybody who picks it for review. Did I, Jacob?
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Francisca, you want to say something?
There are still two hands up, Beatrice and Benjamin.
Okay, let them go ahead, please.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, sir. Yes, good evening.
One of the problems that I noticed here is that as you are doing the presentation, you are mentioning, you said most organizations doesn't have data at hand, and then the proposal mostly comes with the time bound. So, how, as a professional project designer now, how can you advise on writing this kind of proposal, and how can you key into this kind of proposal that comes with so that period of time,
Okay.
and then you don't have data at hand?
Uh-huh.
Go into the community and sit with them and talk with them and gather data from them. All these
Okay.
challenges.
Thank you, Beatrice. Please and please, colleagues. People call me. Valentine, we have a proposal. When you come out, the first thing I ask you, when is the time frame? 2, do you have resources to get everything I need for this proposal design? If not, 3, are you qualified? If any of them is a no, I stop. I don't go for it. You will end up wasting your energy. Proposal writing is not a cheap process, so don't make it cheap to your executive directors. They will get relaxed. So when you cannot sit in an office and design a proposal that will work very well, except that proposal is special proposals, like talking about the cyber protection proposal to protect your computer devices from malware. Even as at that, you need to speak with people. Talking about data, and that's why we say that your MIE section in the office has to be very active. Me, until I lost my laptop, if you get all this data you see me here, I had those books, so I had those reports. If UN releases a report today, tomorrow I download it, even if I'm not using it then. Some don't even relate to me. I don't know why I went and download the nuclear disarmament, whatever, from UN, and only to go into my postgraduate and I needed to use it. So anytime you see data that you used to download it, keep it, you will need it. Then build relationship. If your organization has not done that, build relationship with people in government agencies that manage data, because you must need them. It's a given. It's a given. So for our advice, I would advise you that if anybody asks you to write a proposal, that person should be able to provide you with basic resources to put forward that proposal. Otherwise, it will be just one of those exercises. It will not fly. So if you tell your executive director that you need to speak with the affected population to come out with this proposal or do an appraisal, and they say no, they are willing, tell them you will go ahead and write the proposal, but the guarantee is not there. In fact, the hope is not there. No proposal has guarantee, but the hope to get it will not be there. And the worst you can do is to place phone calls and ask them what the situation is like. But even as at that, I will tell you it will not work. It will not work because you alone as a guy cannot speak with women and understand their menstrual hygiene needs. So how do you mainstream gender into your proposal concept? It no go work. So tell them that, look, you need to design this proposal. The deadline is short. There are 2 approaches I showed you, crashing and fast tracking. It's either we get more people to work on this proposal at the same time, or you do several things simultaneously. Simultaneously in the sense that while we are going to move with our budget, our finance staff, and everybody, as we're agreeing on activity that are doing their budget, so that we all meet deadline. And I also told you the last lecture, avoid submitting proposals on deadline day. Most times you leave one attachment out. No, most times, I can tell you, you will start seeing it when you start having the pressure to write several proposals. So please do not rush into proposal design if you do not have adequate data. I met the consortium that is working on this EU call for social protection in Nigeria. And I had to put everybody on tour. The first thing I asked, do all of you have Europe Aid ID? Some did not. So go and get it. It's a requirement. Then, how do we proceed? We need to talk to our social investment program. We need to talk to blah, blah, blah IDPs, because we need to know what they feel about the situation before we design. Are you willing? They say, yes, we can make resources available. I say, good, now we're talking. So we can design a good proposal from that, but anything short of that would have failed. You can write too, but I think the chances are very slim that you get it. If I'm reviewing your proposal, I will know you did not get to the field. Yeah. Does that make some sense to you, sir?
Yes, sir. So concerning this data that you are talking about the download, for me, actually, I'm not. I don't know where can I start getting those data download.
You said?
For the data you say you can be downloading it from other NGO or site like that. I don't know
Mm.
how can I get to know the site.
See, don't worry. Maybe one of the things I do is to show you there are certain communities you must be part of. When you see all this, I'm very active on Twitter, X, and I'm following almost all the UN agencies I know. So when they are saying UN representative in Myanmar launches local policy on albinos in Uganda, I look at it, I see it on the link. So I go there. If I don't have computer, I download the link to the document. I send it to my mail, I keep it, and I tag it in a way I will know. Local policy, Uganda, UN, Myanmar, or however. I write it in a way that if I'm searching, I will know. So if I need data on that policy on albinos, I'll make reference to that one because I'll go to my email and just get it. So you need to develop that culture. You need to be part of those platforms. It's not something that will happen overnight. And like me, I can bet for sure that no grant call for proposal will be made and I will not know about it until after 5 days. It's not possible. Unless private restricted call. If you make it open, I must know. If I don't know it on any of the websites, a friend will call me and say, Valentine, do you know that they have made this call? That's what Lawyer Salah did to me when this EU came, because I lost my computer at that point. I was not connected. I was not following up anything. The program manager at Lawyer Salah called me and said, Valentine, are you not aware you has made a call? Benue is involved, KB and the rest. I said, okay, this is the challenge I have now. I said, okay, please, when you touch down, come to my office. Let's have a conversation. We had so I knew that one through my friends. So you have to build a community of friends. It will take time, but these are just strategies that have worked for me. Yeah. You said there were two hands, the other hand, so that will wrap up. Evelyn, you said there were two hands. I've spoken with Beatrice. The other one should, other person should speak.
Yes, the second hand is done already, sir.
Okay. Yes. Ezina, go ahead, please. Okay, it's down. Okay, thank you. What's your feedback like? How is this methodology to you? Is it something you think is helpful or we can do it differently in terms of sharing practical documents?
So this is very helpful.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right then. So thank you. Again, we'll continue next week. I'm hoping that by the last week of June, we would have been done all the practicals and we're done and dusted so that we can proceed. But please go ahead and look for that European Union call. I wish, let me see if I can have the link. I'll drop it on this so that you can search for it and apply, hopefully. Before I close out.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank you. Oh, it's a document. So I'll share it. I'll share the document. I'll try to share the document with you. But you can see it. It's let me see. Opening it. If I show you, you might just go download it. So this is a call for proposal, European Commission, and deadline is June 20th, 2025, Brussels time. Don't go and check Kenya time. Oh. You will submit after the thing has closed. So you download let me leave it for you to copy it. supporting sustainable and innovative social protection program. It's for Nigeria. So you can download it and check what's possible to do. There are states there. I think they are very strong in KB and listen. So once you just type on Google this topic, this subject, supporting sustainable and innovative social protection programs, SUSI, ACT, this, blah, blah, or European Union, social protection grant, call for proposals, Nigeria, it will show you. So please, you can feel free to attempt it. And maybe in the course of this interaction, I can be able to, we can allow you to share what you've done and review it with you and see if it is where maybe you use that now to test what our problem analysis and also all that is. Okay. So I'm going to select at random and I'm going to ask. I'm going to select at random. I'm going to ask somebody. Daspan. Nale Daspan. What did you learn
I'm here.
differently? What did you learn differently today? What was interesting to you?
All right, sir. What was interesting to me is the fact that the difference between inclusion and exclusion, more like just the opposite, and how then to approach a proposal and design one. You don't just go ahead writing a proposal without knowing the needs and then talking about the people in the community. And then it has given me an insight on how to approach my own design or proposal, right?
Okay, so thank you so much. And at this point, without any other comments, I will say see you again next week. We're going to continue with our practical session, hoping that they make a lot of sense to you. Thank you, and out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.